If you've arrived at this video, you are about to begin the Subtracting Integers Lab Part 1. Go ahead and secure your lab sheet, a pencil, and some sort of marker. Let's go ahead and get started. First off, let's read the directions. The first thing you're going to do when you're solving a problem in this lab is you're going to plot the first number. Before we get into anything deeper, you need to go ahead and note that the first number is going to be your starting number. This is going to be the number that you're going to plot on your number line, okay? Then, once you plot your first number, you're going to start with your pencil facing the right, which means increasing. When we're talking about increasing, we're talking about going up on the number line. In your problems, whenever you see a subtraction or a negative sign after the first number, you're going to reverse the direction of your pencil. And here's what I mean by reverse. That's one reverse. That's two reverses. Okay? Now, the direction that you end up with will tell you whether or not you will be increasing or decreasing on the number line, okay? Here you can see our key. Go ahead and write beside your key that increasing means we're moving to the right on the number line, and decreasing means we're moving back down to the left of the number line, okay? Whichever direction that your pencil is facing, you're going to document that by writing an I or a D beside your problem. Once you identify which direction you'll be moving in, increasing or decreasing, you're going to model the rest of the problem and record your answer here. Okay? Let's go ahead and practice with our first problem, our example problem. Before we get any deeper though, remember this is our starting number. Our starting number is going to be first. The second number is going to dictate our movement. Okay? What direction and how many times we move on the number line. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is plot the first number. My first number here is 3, positive 3. So I'm going to plot that on my number line. Then I'm going to start with my pencil facing the right. And the directions say whenever I see a subtraction or a negative sign after the first number, I'm going to reverse my pencil. So I'm going to read the problem out loud for you. 3 minus negative 3. Okay? Notice that I reversed my pencil 2 times because I see 2 symbols that are subtraction and negative. Okay? What direction am I left moving in? I am moving in the increasing direction. So I'm going to write an I beside this problem. Okay? Now that I know that I'm increasing, that means I need to move how many times to the increasing side? This number says 3. So I'm going to be moving 3 times to the right. Let's do that now. 1, 2, 3. My answer will be 6. Now, you're probably saying, well, Ms. Ferguson, we already knew the answers right here. But like I always tell you, I'm more concerned with how you know, how did you get the answer? Okay? We're going to do another one. The first thing I'm going to do is read my problem. I have 4 minus 3. Before I even take that problem for granted, I'm going to follow my steps. The first step tells me to plot my first number. So I'm going to do that. This is positive 4. So I'm going to plot that here. Okay? Now, I'm going to place my pencil facing the right, and every time I see a negative symbol, I'm going to reverse it. So 4 minus 3. What direction am I facing in? My pencil is facing the left, so that means I'm going to be facing the decreasing direction. I'm going to write a D right here on this line. Okay? How many times am I decreasing from positive 4? I'm decreasing 3 times. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3. Where do I end up? Positive 1. That's going to be my answer. Okay? Now I'm going to do one more example, but I'm going to skip down to number 3 and leave you to do number 2. Alright? If you want to pause the video now and try number 2, you can, or you can just watch me and do number 3 along with me now, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is plot my first number. My first number here is -6, so I'm going to plot that, okay? Then I'm going to set my pencil facing the right, which is the increasing side. I'm going to read the problem. -6 minus 3. What direction am I facing in? The decreasing direction, okay? So I'm going to write a D there. How many times am I decreasing from -6? I'm decreasing 3 times. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. What's my final answer? It's -9. Now, for those of you who may be saying, hey, Ms. Fersner, I see a negative symbol. Why didn't I reverse there? Remember what the instructions say. Whenever you see a subtraction or a negative sign after the first number, okay? That's the key word. Remember, the first number tells you where you start on the number line. So the first number could very well be a negative. We're looking at what happens after that first number, okay? Now, I want you to go ahead and complete this lab. If for some reason you didn't quite understand what I said, go ahead and start the video over, listen again intently, and try to get a better understanding. Once you finish part 1 of the lab, you need to raise your hand and get me to check your work. Then I will allow you to start on part 2. Go ahead and pause the video now, because when you are done, you can press play and you can receive the instructions for part 2 of the lab. If you have arrived at this part of the video, but you have not gotten your work checked for part 1, please pause the video, complete part 1, and then move forward. If you've already gotten your work checked and you're ready to move on, then you're in the right place. Now, for part 2, we're going to answer the following problems by following these steps. Then we're going to check our answers using this number line at the top, okay? So, let's start with problem number 1. We have -8 minus -6, okay? My instructions tell me to first determine whether I'm going to be increasing or decreasing, just like we did in part 1. So I'm going to place my pencil facing the right, and I'm going to read my problem. Remember, we start looking at negatives and minuses after the first number. So, I have -8 minus -6. What direction am I facing in? Am I increasing or decreasing? Clearly, I'm decreasing on the number line. Excuse me, I am increasing on the number line. So, I'm going to write an I here for increase. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is rewrite this problem as an addition problem. So, let me show you how I'm going to do that. The first thing I'm going to do is write my starting number, which is -8, plus, we said we were increasing on the number line. So, increase means we're moving in a positive direction. How many times are we moving in that direction? We're moving 6 times. So, that means we'll write a +6. Okay? Now we're going to solve this problem using our integer rules. Same signs, add and keep. Different signs, subtract. Different signs, so we subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2, but keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. So my final answer here is -2. Now, just to double check that on my number line, I'm going to test this out using the method that we used in part 1. So, I'm going to plot -8 on the number line, set my pencil down, -8 minus -6. I'm moving in the increasing direction 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do I end up with? -2. So if you checked your answer and you arrived at -2, then that means you're right. Okay? Now, I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to erase my number line so I have that together. Alright. The problem here is negative 4 minus 2. The first thing I'm going to do is determine whether I'm going to be increasing or decreasing by using the pencil trick. So I'm going to start with my pencil facing the right. Negative 4 minus 2. What direction am I moving in? The decreasing side. So I'm going to write decreasing. When I rewrite my problem as addition, I'm going to first write my starting number plus I am decreasing. How many times? I'm decreasing 2 times. So that's going to give me negative 2. Okay? So I now have as a addition problem negative 4 plus negative 2. Now I can use my integer rules to solve the rest of the problem. Same signs, add and keep. These are the same signs. They're both negative, so I'm going to add them, and I'm going to keep the sign. My answer here is negative 6. Let's test that on our number line. If we have negative 4, which we start with, and we're decreasing 2 times, we should end up at negative 6, which was our answer. Go ahead and try the rest of these problems using this method, and when you're finished, get your work checked by me.